Head over to BoardGamePrices.com to get the best price on Catan, Rise of Inkas, and thousands of other games. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, we're going to be going to the Incan world. We're going to be going down there and actually developing different tribes over time periods, and we're going to be gathering resources like you know in Catan, like ore and other things, and you're going to be using those to build roads and cities and settlements. And so now, today, we're looking at a new standalone version of Catan. This is not an expansion, it's its own game called Catan, Rise of the Inkas. Let's take a look. I'm going to show you how it plays, what's sort of different about it, and I'll see you on the other side. In Catan, Rise of the Inkas, each player is trying to build 3 different tribes and get a total of 11 points over the course of the game. And like normal Catan, there's a very basic way you can set up the game, but there's also a randomized way as well. And each player is a certain color, and they're going to be building up settlements and or cities to try to score points. For example, in the first tribe section, you're going to get 2 settlements and a city, or 4 settlements. And when you finish that, you'll finish this and you'll be going on to your second tribe, and so on and so forth. It shows you what your goals are for the different tribes. It does work similarly to the regular Catan, where on a player's turn they're going to roll a dice, and every player that has a settlement or city is going to get resources of those type if they're next to that number. For example, this red player is next to a 5, a 4, and a 6. A 6 was rolled, so this player is going to get this resource, which these are potato farms. So anywhere you see a 6, these 2 players are going to get stuff, some wood from the forest, for example. So multiple players will be getting things on a certain player's turn. Now the game comes with these little card trays. It's nice. You put the different cards of the resources here and the goods that we'll talk about a little bit later. So for example, if I was getting those potatoes, I would just take this potato and put it in my hand with the other resources that people do start with resources as well. And then once a player has rolled the dice and people have gotten resources, they can trade. They can trade with other people. They can negotiate any deals they want, trading cards for cards, goods for goods, things like that. And then they can build as much as they'd like. They want to build a road. It's, a wood and a stone. A settlement are these resources. That's, again, getting these. If you want to upgrade a settlement to a city, it'd be these resources, which essentially gets you more things. Because if you have a settlement, you'll get one of a resource you're at. For example, right now, we were here with a 6 and it got us 1 potato. But if instead we had upgraded that to a city by spending 2 potatoes and 3 ore, well, cities get you 2 of those. So now when that gets rolled, this red player will be getting 2 potatoes. So that's very similar to the way that the original Catan works. Now you'll notice there's a big difference is now we have fish out here and there's a jungle where you have some cocoa leaves and some feathers. Those are goods. Those aren't used to purchase or build anything. But those goods are used to do easier trading without other players, just with the supply. So any 2 of the same goods can get you any 1 resource, or 1 of each of the 3 different goods can get you any 2 resources. So these goods cards actually make trading a little bit quicker and faster, and you don't have to worry about dealing with other players. And of course, like normal, you can turn in any 3 cards, to get 1 here. You can do that all throughout the game. Now here's also where the game gets very different. Right now, let's say this red player has 3 settlements, and they go ahead and build their 4th settlement just like that. And as you build these settlements, you're showing everybody how many points you have, and if you built your 4th, you've completed this tribe. Remember, 4 settlements or a city and 2 here. Now you've finished this, so this interesting thing happens. First thing is, all of your roads actually disappear. You have to put them back in the supply. Then all the settlements and or cities will get overgrown because that tribe is now gone and you're building a 2nd tribe. And they'll get these grass thatches to show that. Now these will continue to gain resources. However, if another player builds a settlement here, they actually can boot this one off here and take it over with their own. So you're going to be continuing to get resource until other people build over it. You can also build over yourself if you'd like. But now to start your 2nd tribe, you're able to now create your 1st settlement of the new 2nd tribe with the normal building rules applying, and you can build it in normal spots. Then it'll be the next player's turn. So that's how going through different tribes works. And in the 2nd tribe, once you've done either your 2 settlements in the city or 4 settlements, you do the same thing again. Anybody that's still left from your 1st tribe comes completely off the board. This 2nd tribe will get the grass thatch. It's going to be in decline like the other ones did. And then you'll be working on your last and 3rd tribe. You'll be placing 1 settlement out and trying to finish that just like we just showed you. Now that's pretty much how the game works and how it differs. These big tribes here, this is the big difference in the game, moving around the board a lot more than the normal Catan. Now there is a longest road tile that whoever has the longest road that's 3 or more will get this. Instead of getting points, you're actually going to be able to trade once per turn a 1-to-1 trade. So you can trade any one card for any other one card with the supply. It's very powerful. However, when you go into decline with your new tribe and you remove all your roads, this is going to go away from you and be given to the next player that has the most highest road. So this moves around a lot more in this version, but it's also more powerful. Even though it's not a point, you get this really good trade. Now, there's also development cards you can purchase for, a potato, a wool, and an ore. Now, at the beginning of the game, you're going to be pulling from this one pile, but once every player has gotten to the second tribe, you'll be using these more powerful cards, which gives another arc to the game. Now, just like Catan, if a 7's rolled, that player gets to place the robber on any one spot. All players that have 8 or more cards have to discard half of their resource cards rounded down, and this player gets to steal a card from any one of the players that actually has somebody around that tile like normal. However, speaking of those development cards that we were just talking about, a lot of the cards have to do with these combat arts, which allows you to move the robber and steal the resources from, the owner of the adjacent building. Plus it also, protects you from one additional card when your hand, from getting rid of it when the robber's rolled. However, the first player to have 2 of these cards gets this Mightiest Combat tile, and then once per turn, you can just remove the robber from, a hex that's next to one of your buildings and move it somewhere else. So getting these cards allows you to be less susceptible to the robber. And that's pretty much all the big changes in this version. All right, now what did I like about this? Now, I'm going to first preface this by saying I'm not a huge Catan fan. I am a huge fan of what it's done for the hobby and what it's really the first Euro game that ever kind of came over here and helped us get to where we are today. So I absolutely love it for what it's done, but for the gameplay itself, it's not one that I've really loved. I could take it or leave it. It's average for me at best. So let's see what this one does. Multiple tribes. I like that you're sort of building these things, and over the course of the game, you're going to be building new tribes, and your other one's going to be dormant, which other people can sort of build over, but they're still going to be getting you different resources if nobody does that. So I like how it gives this a sort of a new aspect and a new arc to the game. Now, building over those tribes is cool. So someone else has gotten to the next level. They have their tribes are dormant, if you will, but you can go over there and you can build right over them. And I think that's a really cool aspect, because one of the problems I had with the first game is it kind of got stagnant and boring, that you're kind of stuck in the same spots the whole game, and if you get kind of pushed out early, you're not going to win. Where now, it's like as people go and progress through the game, different tribes, things are going to get built over, you're going to be moving to different spots. It makes the game a lot more dynamic. It's the best part about this game. I like that you can see everyone's score. I know a lot of people like the original aspect where you can't really quite tell. For me, it's like, come on, just tell me your score. I don't want to have to spend all these mental gymnastics figuring out who has what and who does what. Let me just see what the state of the board is, what the state of the thing is quickly, and see what I need to do to try to get ahead. So I like the visible scoring with the little, the tokens there. I like the new aspect of goods, where they're not used to build things, but the goods are used for trading better. And you can get those on the edges of the board, in the sea, or in the jungle. And I like that you can trade for those and then use those to either, get 2 of them for a resource, or 3 different ones, for 2 resources. I like that it sped things up. It made it not so, things didn't hinge so much on trading with other people, because you could sometimes trade pretty good for other things as well. I like the new way the longest road works. Instead of giving you a point, it gives you a 1-to-1 trade, which is very powerful. But when you go and you get to your new tribe level, well, all your roads go away, and it's going to go to someone else, most likely. And I like how it sort of does move around, but when you have it, it's very powerful. I'm calling this Catan 2.0. It looks like they've kind of stepped back from the original and went, how can we make this more interesting, more modern, and kind of fit with what's going on in today's world? I think they did a good job with that. In fact, I played this with everyone I played this with actually had already played Catan and actually liked Catan. And everyone that I played this with said they liked this better. I'm in that camp. I definitely like this better than the original Catan. Let me get to the negatives. The production. The cards are thin, they're kind of flimsy, and all the tiles are one-sided. They're not color on both sides. A little chintzy and cheap there on the production. Second one is, in the 4-player game, as you build over and you go to new places for your tribes, in a 4-player game, the game is so tight you can't build on the sea or the jungle spaces. It makes it sometimes you don't even really have an option. Sometimes like, well, this is the only place you can really go. So it might give you the illusion that you can move around and have some more choices. But in the 4-player game, sometimes that didn't happen. So I actually like this better at 3 than 4 players for that. It gave you more options once you got to the next tribe. And for me, it is definitely better than the original. I would always play this over the original, but for me, it still really doesn't stand out of the crowd with all the other amazing Euro games that are coming out these days. So it's better. I would always play this in front of the other one, but it's still not one that I'm really going to be itching to play again, and that's Catan: Rise of the Inkas. Upgrade your gaming experience with Game Toppers, and until the end of the year, with the huge Christmas sale, get 15 to 20% off accessories, thematic mats, storage bags, and rail bundles while supplies last at GameToppersLLC.com.